Welcome to the Produce on Purpose podcast, where we experience life being the real you. So today I have a wonderful guest because we, of course, love having multiple perspectives on how we can produce on purpose in our lives. And Richard Walsh, the CEO of Sharpen the Spear Coaching, has 30 years as a seasoned entrepreneur. He's the best-selling author of Escape, the Owner Prison, the contractor's new way to scale, gain control, and fast track growth while loving life. A speaker and podcast host, he's a husband and father of 6 children, a U.S. Marine, a champion boxer, black belt, and an internationally recognized steel sculptor. His expertise lies in combining both the strategic and the tactical. He's able to deliver immediate problem-solving results, tactical, along with strategic, long-term implementation of systemization and scalability. With over 30 years in business himself, Richard has embraced time compression, sharing the secrets and strategies that bring rapid and lasting results to the companies he works with. Richard, it is wonderful to have you on the Produce on Purpose podcast. How are you today?
I am awesome, Randy, and I'm really excited to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's great to have you on, and great to have you provide a perspective that I think when we get into this, it will help everyone kind of get to a place. I know a lot of people like to have a level of freedom in their lives, and it sounds like you talk a little bit about that. So tell us a little bit about your journey. I kind of gave your bio, but give us a part of your story and, what's important to you for you to be able to share today.
Yeah, it's a long journey, right? 30 plus years. I think I've been like 35 years now. So came out of the Marine Corps in 87. Basically started working for myself shortly after that. Did really well. Had a custom water feature business, built that for almost 20 years. 0809 hit the big financial collapse that took me out. And one caveat I always say is, well, actually the collapse didn't take me out. I took me out because there's a lot of things that I didn't do in my business that if I had done, I probably wouldn't have lost everything. But yeah, I lost everything, including my home. I had 6 little kids at the time, 4 years and younger. So that was a bit of a challenge. I had to figure out what I was going to do, where we're going to go. Work through that. I can kind of laugh and smile about it now, but it wasn't a lot of fun at the time. But turned that around, started working, opened a gym, scaled that. That did really well. Put a construction business, did roofing, siding, windows, did that really well. And then people started asking me like, well, how'd you do that? How'd you go from where you were to where you are now? How do you go from nothing, something to nothing? I mean, I was the best at what I did that first 20 years. Like you said, internationally recognized steel sculptor, world-class projects, award-winning, published, TV, the whole thing, the whole pack, committees in the city of Chicago. I mean, I'm doing all this stuff, but that all went away really fast. 08 hit. And so I had to kind of reevaluate what I'm doing with my 6 kids, Randy. The big epiphany was I woke up one morning, and I know everything's collapsing, right? It's not like one day we were done, but I'm like, there's no way we're going to make it, right? So it's just a matter of time. I could try. I did a few dumb things to try to keep it going. That didn't work. But I woke up thinking, I've got these 6 little kids, and I come home at night or get done with the workday, and they all run or crawl to see me. They want to be with me. I'm like, it's really cool. And then I left one day. My son has chased me down the driveway. I'm in my truck. He's crying because I'm leaving. And this epiphany was just, everything is business first. Everything I did, because it's all for the family. It's all for, make money and so we can have freedom and all that stuff, which I had none of. And I'm like, if I stay on this path, like, I'm going to destroy my children's futures. They're going to have failed marriages, broken relationships. They might be good at business, but that's all they're going to have. And they'll be lonely and broken. I'm like, I can't do that to them. So I went in that day in the office and I said, we're done today. And I just shut it all down. Again, no plan. Okay, I had no plans. Okay, drives my wife crazy. She's like, I'm like, we'll sell everything. We'll get rid of it. We're moving. She's like, okay. Kind of went Green Acres on her, if you know what I mean. We went out to the country. Left kind of the city area and then went out to the country and started all that. But I just couldn't do what I had been doing for those 20 years. I had to do something different just for my family. Like, how do I do this again, but this time be around? I
Right.
can't have a business that owns me. So that was the big push. And that kind of, like I said, I scaled a couple of businesses, started making that work, understand other people can do the work that I do. I'm not a magician.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who can do the tricks. You know what I mean? So like let
Yes.
go. Just let go. And teach other people how to do it and build systems and processes and let them run that. And that's why I started teaching people, and that's why I wrote the book, Escape the Owner Prison. I'm like, well, let me weave my story in this and then hit these fundamentals and all these things that people should do, but they don't do. So I saw
Hmm.
these patterns as I work with these businesses, they're all the same. They all work really hard for the first 2 years, Randy, which we all
Yes.
have to do. You don't start a
Right.
business and not work hard. If anyone's got that secret sauce, please send it in so we can not work hard when we begin a business. Because I haven't found it, and I've been doing this a long time. So
Right.
so that's the thing. But then the next thing you know, 10 years has gone by, and you've repeated the first 2 years 5 times, and that's why you're
Yeah.
stuck. That's why you're stuck. So I unstick them.
Ah.
Okay. And then that's what we do now. So I show them how to do it with vision and systemization, strategy, all the cool stuff, get their performance way up. Because the big goal is for me right now, the movement I have, Randy, is to help 10,000 business owners create freedom, profit, and impact in their business.
Okay.
And it's a mouthful, but there's a lot to do it. There's a lot because most people start their business for those things, freedom,
Right.
profit, and impact,
Yep.
and they never get there.
Yes.
You know,
That's amazing. And, I think the priorities start to really show up because, a lot of times we say, well, no, our priority is to work the business. But really, in the end, the priority is family, is being able to have some time to be able to spend with your family. But the reason was you thought the mechanism was business to do it. And it still is. It's just that we need to get to the space where we can scale. And we've had multiple businesses, and we were also hit by the '08. In fact, when '08 happened, my wife and we both went into real estate,
oh,
and she had been in real estate. And during that initial time, it was cool because it was like, anytime you had a contract before that, it was definitely a sell. Well,
yep,
when I came into the business, we had 5 contracts, and it was '08, and things just like over a couple of months just crashed, and only one of those 5 contracts went through. So we understand how that can be, and then it was a tough road for us because we were still in real estate at the time. So share with us now. You have come up with some ways of being able to really realize that freedom and the impact and being able to scale. Tell us a little bit about what those goals are that most people have, and then secondly, really what it means to escape that in your life. And so you can kind of share a little bit about escaping that owner prison, and what that really means.
sure. So let's do this. Let's because a lot of people. I'll tell you one thing most people miss, especially in the beginning. Okay, they don't start. And here's the great saying, the Stephen Covey saying: they don't start with the end in mind. They don't begin with an exit strategy, which sounds counterintuitive.
Hmm.
So there's a couple simple questions you have to ask. First, it's when. When do I want to be out of this? And you think you'll do it forever? Like I appreciate you, but like set a date anyways. Yes. I'm going to tell
Yeah.
you why in a second. All right. Yeah, we'll do it forever. Yeah, sure. We all want to do things forever. And I've been around long enough where forever doesn't happen. Okay. There's too many factors out there that can take you out, change your mind, whatever. So, right. So we get that. But so pick a date. I don't care what, 10 years, 15, to whatever you want to do, pick a date. Second and most important thing is how much is enough. You have to ask how much is enough.
Hmm.
Is it the old Rockefeller saying, just $1 more? He's
Right.
chasing the next dollar all the time, right? Never satisfied, never
Yeah.
content, right? If you don't have a number, it's endless. There's no end, there's no relief, there's no contentment ever,
Right.
right? You're not going to balance your life. You're not going to do anything. You're chasing the dollar all the time. You're going to chase your gross revenue number and things like that. So those two things in particular are critically important, right? And now what we do from there, we want to reverse engineer. So as I tell people, the best time to start to create an exit strategy is before you launch your business.
Right.
The second best time is right now.
Right.
Like, don't wait till, hey, I think I'd like to get out of this in a year or two. I better put together an exit strategy. I'm being real. You've already failed
Yeah.
because you haven't built a business to sell.
Right.
And now you're going to try to do it. You're not going to have it. You're not going to have the numbers. You're not going to have the systems, the processes, the market share. You're not going to have what you could if you just started with an exit strategy and work your way backwards. And we can get into that if you want to detail. I can show you how it works. It is the ultimate business filter.
Yeah.
Okay. When you know where you're going. Yeah.
That's awesome. So the exit strategy, and I've heard, and I love the 7 Habits of Highly Effective
Mm.
People by Stephen Covey. That's one of those game changers in my life that help to provide an idea. So you're saying go into business with an exit strategy and an understanding of kind of where are you going to really exit and how that kind of builds on what you build your business on. Obviously, you reverse engineer to try to build that out. And I think it's interesting that you're saying this is critically important and that there is no forever. I think everyone believes in it, and I think it's interesting because there are many mom and pop, great small businesses out there. But when mom and pop are like, all right, we're ready to turn it over to the children, and the children are like, no, that wasn't, we weren't a part of your exit strategy. So
Right.
that I think it's interesting. So yeah, if you want to share a little more here on now you've started to try to define that exit strategy.
Hmm.
How do you begin to reverse engineer that to get to a place where you have a business with the right systems and kind of where you are impacting the way you should be impacting?
Right. So think of it this way. You're also going to figure out, okay, in the reverse engineering part, we have what's called active business income, right? That's the money you're making.
Yeah.
And that's allocated to different things. One of them, and most importantly, should be to you, the
Mm,
owner. Don't
right.
pay yourself last. Okay.
All right.
Don't be a
Well,
martyr.
Richard, I'm gonna say now, sometimes in these startups, I've heard,
I know.
the CEO and those that are founders, they're not supposed to pay themselves because, they're putting everything back into business. So is that what you're saying, or you're saying something else there?
I'm saying no, don't do that. Pay yourself.
Okay. Okay.
Because eventually you have to replace yourself. You're going to pay somebody to do what you do. Otherwise, you're going to be in the owner prison,
Okay.
right? Because you're like haven't allocated any money and you're taking the scraps. You've taken all the risk. You work all the hours. You're wearing all the hats, and you honestly think you shouldn't be compensated for that.
Oh yeah,
Like
definitely.
like it's you're just this wonderful benevolent guy who just gives all the money away and just because you have the joy of owning it, right? Like and we all been there. I'm not saying I didn't do that either. When you start, I get it, but you need to pay yourself. It's got to be in the exit strategy. That's the point, right?
Right.
Okay, first year you're making what you can, you're building this, but so here it is. So let's just say you're killing it and you're making 7 figures a year for your own personal salary. Now we're coming to the end and you're like, oh, and I want 10 million for my exit strategy, right? That's my sale price. So we
Hmm.
get to the end. Now we negotiate. I got a buyer comes in and I actually get 10.5 because I built such a good business, right? So
Yeah.
you shake hands. He hands you a check. You're out the door. No one knows the business sold because you built it so well. But what'd you just lose? 1 million a year.
Ah, yes.
You just lost 1 million a year, didn't you?
Yeah.
You got the 10.5, but now so in 10 years you're broke.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because you used to living on 1 million. Now I hope you're not living on 1 million. Hope you do a little better with your money than that. But here's the point. So in the beginning, I say, okay, well, I'm gonna have to, I want to get to a 7 figure salary. Okay, now how do I keep getting a 7 figure salary after I sell? Well, that's by acquiring assets, creating passive income, rental properties, Bitcoin. I don't care what it is, whatever your vehicle, your investment vehicle is.
Right.
I need $83,000 a month. Okay, I got to
Yes.
build that passively. Now we get to 10 years, and I've taken, and believe me, you don't have to live on 1 million, but imagine taking half of that, or even
Right.
2/3, and investing that in asset allocation. Holy cow. You're going to be there at that 10 years.
Right.
You're going to have and you won't have to work another day in your life, and the passive is going to keep paying you, but you can
That's
go on to the
that's
next thing,
that's
right?
an awesome. That's actually to me more complete than I've I've heard is that now you're not only talking about your basic living cash flow that you have, but you're also talking about you have the exit strategy. And I think a lot of people, the idea is, and in my mind, I would have thought, hey, once I get to 10-5, I'm good. But you're saying, why don't you go ahead and put in a plan along the way? Then by the time you get the 10-5, you also have another, whatever your recurring income is that you wanted to have every year already happening.
Right. Right. So now
Wow.
there's no pressure.
Yes.
You're free. And you got
Right.
10-5 to play with.
Right.
Okay. You got 10 million to play with. Start another business or take half of that and put it in more asset allocation. Build a financial legacy for your children. Way better than sitting them in your business.
Wow.
Think funny thing, kids coming into a business, here's the deal, Randy. Like it's such we feel like it's a great idea and it'd be awesome for our kids. The problem is when you're trapped in the owner prison and you run a business like that, you're talking about the mom and pops. You
Yep.
know what your kids see? They see you trapped. They see you don't
Right.
get vacations. You're working all the time. You don't have time to come to their games. You think they want that?
No, that is
They're like,
definitely,
nope.
yeah.
Oh, I'll take it, Dan. I'm going to sell that thing and go do what I want to do. That's what they'll
Right.
do. They'll sell for pennies on the dollar and go do what they actually want to do. So now it's not saying you can't do that, but imagine if you built this business like this.
Yes.
It's systemized, runs itself. You got this passive income coming in, have the investment strategies. Now, if I was your son and you're doing that, I'm going to be interested
Right.
because you run a real. I'm like, I want to do that.
Right.
Well, Dad golfs 3 times a week, man. He's going to lunch with Mom like 4 days a week, and they go out to dinner and they have vacations. I want that life.
Yes.
Slide me in there, Pop.
And that's
You really
that's
good thing.
actually pretty cool. And I never really thought of it in that way because, a lot of times we think of business and we've heard, work hard. And I understand that, but if you work hard without it sounds like without a plan, a good, plan that provides for you with that extra time that you could spend doing the stuff that you love, that you could be doing what you love while you're building the business and while you are building on that legacy. So my question to you becomes now, this business plan it sounds like it could be a 5 or 10 year plan that you could have and almost be in a space where you have gotten to a place where you can exit. What have you seen so far when, as you said, you're helping like 10,000, we want to help 10,000 businesses go out. How has that been, and what's kind of typically the duration for this kind of exit?
So normally, again, you have to get you have to get the business systemized, right? You got to get it running itself. That's about a 12-month process,
Right.
depending on the size of the business, where they're at. I work with businesses that are between $1 and $10 million. That's my
Hmm.
sweet spot. I work with bigger ones, stuff like that. Most of those guys, they're stuck at that 2 and 3 million, that 4 million, because you can't do all that. You can go 0 to a million by yourself, Randy.
Yes.
I've done it. People do it all the time. Like you're going to work very hard, but you can get there. But
Right.
you get to 2 and 3, that's something you don't do by yourself. You
Right.
need the team. You need systems, processes, right? So when we want to build that's about a 12-month journey in our program, and now you're fully systemized. Your business now is running itself. So there's a goal, and that's for the owner. I want them to be focused on the 5% of the business only they can do. That's
Right.
vision. That's market share, right? That's
Hmm.
reeling in the big clients, things like that. Because when you do that, you go from your 60 to 80 hours a week to 20.
Right.
Okay. Now you're working 20 hours a week. You can do it even less if you get even better, but depending on your business. But so you understand, like, okay, now we have freedom to get up to the 10,000 foot view and really look and strategize, lay out the future for us so everyone knows where we're going, where we create the vision and all that kind of stuff. So that's really great for people. Now they start seeing it. Now, if they haven't started acquiring assets, that's all relative, right? Like,
Hmm.
what does that look like? How much do you have to invest? You might be 10 years in your business already, but if you start today and want to exit in 10 years, you still did a 20-year business and you
Right.
could pull off what we just talked about, right? Like,
Yes.
because
Right.
it keeps you laser focused on the main thing. So here's the thing. I don't know if you've experienced this in your businesses. I'm sure when we get good at something and we're successful,
Yes.
what shows up? Little opportunity fairies. Okay. All your friends say you should do this. Here's a great way to make money. Now join my MLM. Do this, do that, right? So they're all doing this stuff and say, okay, well, that's It's a cool idea. Let me check a few things. Let me run it through my exit strategy. So if I take on this little opportunity, this mini business, this little side gig or whatever it is, does that get me closer to my exit or does it detract from it? If it detracts, it's a hard no. If it gets
Right.
me closer, hey, it's a spoke on the hub. Let's go. Let's
Yes.
produce. It'll get me there faster. I'll take it. I'll say yes, right? So when you run everything through there, that's what's amazing. You can easily, confidently say no to stuff and don't have the fear of missing out. I should have done, don't have any of that. The second thing on that too, that exit strategy, the importance of it is your family.
Right.
When your family actually knows you have a plan, they'll be your greatest cheerleaders. When they don't know and you just say, I got to work, you wouldn't understand. Yeah, it's hard. Blah, and that's what you're bringing to the table at dinner, if you even get to have dinner with them.
Yeah.
Okay, they're just going, again, what is this mysterious thing Dad does every day? They don't know. He just comes home miserable. Okay, he just comes home miserable every day. But when they know the plan, and that reverse engineering gives you the phases, the strategy,
Right.
when you're going to hire the first person, the second person, now. And they can be out, if they know what you're actually trying to accomplish, the support will be amazing. Most people fail to do that, and that's what wrecks the family.
That's
It starts
interesting.
to create that distance.
Yeah, it sounds like, and also it almost sounds like also this could be helpful for marriages, helpful for family,
Mhm.
because now everyone understands where you are going in. If you are working hard for a little bit, there's always time. And I'm thinking about this exit strategy. So, do you put in time that you're looking to spend? Do you put in what kinds of things do you put into an exit strategy like this? Because I know you talked about the passive income and you talked about the
Mhm.
selling of the business, but what other areas? Because to me, this then begins to become something that's kind of more of a holistic view of what you're doing for your life.
Yeah, well, so we create what we call a strategic vision for the company.
Hmm.
Okay. And I'm going to give you a real quick high view of that. So that is really who, how, and why you serve. Who do you serve? How do you serve them? Why you serve them?
Hmm.
But it's internal. So it's within the company, how it
Yep.
works from the first call, the whole customer journey all the way through, and how every single person in your company is a hero and they're part of their journey. But you're going 18 to 24 months out at a time. This is
Right.
what we're going to achieve, not what we're doing, not what we're going to achieve. So now everyone can work for purpose and do that. So take that same philosophy, that same pattern, and
Hmm.
do it for a personal strategic vision.
Right.
So just carry that over and go, what do we do as a family? Okay, and again, side by side, parallel this because you can incorporate what you do because you talk about, like if you read my strategic vision for Sharpen Spirit, I talk about everything I do from my
Yep.
wake up rituals to how much I make, everything else, right? All that stuff's in there. So people know you can read and go, oh, that's what he does. Yes, see me at the gym at 5:30 every morning. It's in there and that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Okay, I get up at 4 and I do this and this. I do my Bible study. I drink my coffee. I drink my water. I do all that. So I have a ritual. I go through that. But now my family knows. Now you're going to do the same thing. What kind of time are you spending? You can cut off your day. You don't have to work till 9 at night. Start earlier.
Right.
No one's up at 4 in the morning. No one in my
That is
house is up
true.
at 4 in the morning. I am doing good work at 4 in the morning. I like it. I've always done it. So now you can strategize your days. You can block your calendars. You can do things like that, but understanding the real importance, quality of life.
Yeah.
It's not standard of living, it's quality of life. Right? Standard of living is you spend what you make. Buy another
Hmm.
boat, get the second house, get this, right? Instead of going, I bought time. I have margin in my life. I get to go to all my kids' games and plays and musical recitals and everything else.
Yeah.
That's how you parallel it. Because it's got to be part of your journey. You can't separate the two.
Right.
Now if you have already, now you have to get back. We call it the 5 F's, right? So it's
Hmm.
faith, family, finances, fitness, and friendships. Okay. When people talk about work-life balance, which is it irritates me because they just say it and walk away like they've done it and they haven't done it. And they couldn't tell you how to do it. So it's kind of annoying. So, excuse me. So I just say, well, here's how you do it. And I tell people you're in business, you got your business. Yeah, it's kind of a hot mess. These 5 F's are really cool, but you don't get to work on them yet. You got
Yeah.
to fix your business. Because if your business is a mess, you can't be playing around with this other stuff because you're always in your business.
Right.
It's always in your mind. It's a mess. You don't get true freedom. But once you fix that,
Yeah.
now we do faith, family, finances, fitness, friendships. Now you're going to create balance because you have the margin to give to those areas of your life.
I love that, and it seems like you, by doing, the exit strategy, then by having that as a plan, it is really is a filter for you, and it actually sounds like it provides a little bit of peace in your life that you probably wouldn't have because you have all of these other things happening and going down that path. So you also talk about, I guess it's really about how you productize or maybe how you utilize your services, that sometimes I think we become more like a commodity or being the lowest bidder on what we do.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on how that's maybe not the way to go, and how to really get your business to a space where you're not doing that every day?
Yeah, it's that whole low bidder mentality, right? Walmart,
Yeah,
if you will, I'm air quoting Walmart. Okay. When you low bid, just remember you always have to be the lowest.
right,
You want to play in that arena. Okay, that's a race to the bottom. Okay, there's no joy in that. There's no real success in that. There's no margin in your life you're ever going to get because you're never going to be able to operate your business that way. Not
right,
from a guy or girl who starts a business, and you're not going to do that, right? Not going to happen. So the important thing on that thing is to really understand, you know, what I'm bringing to the table. What do I offer? How do I bring high value to what I offer? Now, the caveat is you really got to be good at what you do.
yeah,
Okay. And I know it seems kind of obvious, but I mean like exceptional.
hmm,
And your goal should be, even if you're not, I don't think anyone's the greatest. There's always someone better, right? I did that boxing. I could win a lot, but then there's always someone better. I've never seen him before in my life. He comes in and beats me pillar to post. You know what I mean? You're like, where'd you come from? I thought I was really good. You know, it happens. Well, business is the same thing, right? That's what's going to happen. But how do you create value in your product, and not just the product itself or the service itself, but the
hmm,
experience, the whole process? So
right,
and the more you understand, we call it the ICP, as your ideal client profile. You absolutely have to know in and out. You have to know your client better than they know themselves.
right,
How many cars do they own? How many kids do they have? What's the value of their home? Where do they live? Where do they go online, offline? Where do they eat? You know, what's their lifestyle like? Really understand who they are because you want to serve them at the
hmm,
highest level. You know, whatever that level might be, you got to be able to create and do that. So I get people want to come into business and they start low to get work. You know, like, hey, I'll do it for cheaper, and I'll show you what I can do.
yeah,
Yeah, I get that, and that works. But just like an exit strategy, you need to plan when you're going to stop doing that,
right,
because you're going to find out 2 years later you're still doing the low bid and not making any money, and you get out, right? I mean, I get it. If you have, you want to get out there and get something for the portfolio, right?
hmm,
Serve
yeah,
some people, get some pictures, cut some grass, do whatever you're doing, right? You got to do that, but you better make a really early transition time to get away from that. And the simple way, Randy, you just increase your margin a little bit, a little bit.
yep,
Okay, if I'm cutting grass for $20 a week, let's go to 24.
right,
Okay, let's go to 26, then to 26, then to 29, then 32. Like quickly,
yeah,
like every couple jobs you get, the next guy gets a higher price. A
right,
couple more jobs at that price, next guy gets a higher price. And in a month, you can increase your rates by $15. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So you go from 20 to 35, like, oh, now you're starting to make money, right? You got to understand that. But people get stuck in that. I don't know what it is. It's probably some complex or something. Someone's dead, diagnosed or something that we just have no self-worth or whatever it is. But it's just, you got to believe in what you do, bring that value, bring
yeah,
it to the market, and always look how to do more. And one a simple motto we have, almost a tenet really, is deliver more value than you're being paid for. That's the
right,
number one cardinal rule.
right,
Like, I built over 1,000 custom water features. Okay. Never once did anyone ever say they overpaid.
right,
Almost exclusively, they didn't pay enough. They said that. And Randy, I charged some money.
yeah,
I was not afraid to charge money. I charged some big money for what they did. And they're still like, it was the whole experience. Everything was just like this. Oh man, you got to charge more. I go, yeah, now that yours is done, Yeah, you want me to charge more? Yeah, I'm going to charge you, but that's what it was. And I realized every time I did a job,
Yeah.
like everyone's saying, like this is. I had a guy one time. We spent like a month doing an indoor pool, and he came out every week to give me a check. And this is what he said every time. He goes, "I know this isn't enough." He just kept handing me. And I'm like, made you feel good, but I'm like, well, pay me more, brother. Come on, hook a brother up. But it was beautiful work though, right? It goes in
Yeah.
portfolio, but now I know I can adjust to what the market will bear, and that's what I found out.
It's interesting because you're talking about value, and then I really liked how you talked about the ICP and having that client profile. You actually provided details, and I think sometimes, and I know I've been to a place where I've been like, well, number one is either the field of dreams. If I build it, they will come, and I don't know who they
Mm-hmm.
are,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm in a space where I'm looking at the competition so much that I forget that sometimes it's just like little tweaks in the process where I think about one of the restaurants we go to. The reason we like going to the restaurant, it's not so much because of the food. The food is good, but it's the service that they provide from the moment you come in the door. You got somebody shaking your hand, making you feel like you're the best person they know,
Mm-hmm.
and all of this. And that makes a difference in business as well. And I like how you shared that because I think value sometimes is not what we are thinking about. We're just thinking about providing some service or product at the lowest cost, thinking that's what our clients want. But really, what everybody wants is we want the best value for whatever we're getting. That is really, I think, a cool point to really kind of think about for everyone as we look at this and go through.
Yeah, I have like a 3-page document, a worksheet for defining your ICP. It's work. I mean, it's work. You got to do
Yeah.
research. You got to find out what a simple way, Randy, to start is say, okay, think of your favorite client. You've been in business a year, 2 years, whatever it is. Who is your favorite person? They paid right away, even early. They loved you. They brought you. You're out working in the yard. They're bringing you stuff to drink and food. Or taking care of your guys. They tip your guys. Right? Those people. Who is that person? Go deep
Right.
and say that's who I want to serve. Wouldn't that be awesome if all your clients were that?
Yeah.
You can do that. You
Right.
can do that. You have to know what you're going after,
Yes.
right? I
And then
have a
that,
I have a client.
go ahead.
Say I have a client, a kitchen remodeler. He did that when I started with him. His average kitchen price was $43,000. Okay. 2 years later, we're at $93,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
average. Just the other day, he signed a $179,000 kitchen.
Wow. Amazing.
Okay. When I started, he was doing 12 jobs at a time, 12 to 15 jobs at a time. It's a lot
Right.
of plates to keep spinning. Now he does 3 to 4,
Right.
and he makes almost double.
Yep.
He spent a week on the beach with his 5 kids and his wife. She's talked to me like this. I never thought this was going to be possible. 8 years. 8 years. If we're on the beach, he's not on the phone.
Yeah.
He's not walking out of the restaurant to go talk on the phone, talk to a client or put out a fire. It's like things are dialed in, man. And I want that. I want to hear that from the spouse.
Yes.
Like you changed our life. That's what business can do because business is your income generator. You can't leave it, because
Yeah.
it's actually worse if you do. But if you fix it, that's where the freedom, profit, and impact comes from. It's awesome.
That is awesome, and the identifying the profile is thinking also is like, many businesses are wondering, where do I market? Who do I market to? And I was told a long time ago, it's better to be a sniper than to just take a shotgun because the shotgun just kind of goes everywhere. And if you do a sniper type of route, then you know your target, you know exactly what you're having to put your dollars to, how you're kind of moving forward. And so I'm thinking now that as we have been talking, how do you get to a place now you share about giving back and how that can be a powerful, building strategy, business building strategy? What are your thoughts on that and giving back?
Yeah, it's important. So everyone most business owners have a sense of a need to do that, right? They don't always figure out how to do it, or they give out of their own pocket, or they give personally. They don't know how to make their business do it, or you got your targets place. We give $50 million a year to who knows what.
Right.
We don't know what they just say 50. Who knows what they're giving it to? I have no idea, right? So, and that's all good. And they want to beat their own chest and brag about it. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who believes, the right hand should know what the left hand's doing when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
giving.
Yes.
Okay, a biblical tenet, right? So
Mm-hmm.
but I want to help locally. Where's my business? My business for most of us is going to be in a geographic area, right? Locally. We could be in multiple states and everything too, but who can we help there
Right.
without the notoriety? Okay, you don't need to go and can you put the banner up? I'm the sponsor. I give here. We give this. Now, you can say, like in my strategic vision that we talked about earlier, for the people in my company, I want them to know where we give. If I take 5% of all our profits and I give to two organizations, maybe it's a battered women's shelter and a foster placement shelter, right? That
Yeah.
kind of thing. That's what we do. And they know that as we work, 5% of all my real net profit goes to that. They're
Right.
like, oh, so they understand. And we just give, a thing we do at our church, we create a 501c3 that people don't come to us. We go to all the other organizations that are helping in the community.
Yep.
And say, what do you need? And there's a woman's shelter. We need shampoo, we need paper products, we need this. We get the giant 4x4 boxes, on the pallets
Mm-hmm.
and put them in church and people come fill it up.
Right.
You know how much, because you could give money, but you give that material, you know how much money that saves them to use money for the more important things?
Right.
I mean, you get shampoo for, 50 or 100 women for a year. That's a lot of shampoo.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're going to go through paper products, toilet paper, all that stuff, So there's a different way to do it, right?
Yeah.
So you understand maybe we give to that organization because they give to all these, that kind of stuff. So the benefit and how it helps grow your business is first, and to me, again, part of my faith, but you're rewarded, you're blessed for giving, right?
Yes.
You don't give to get. You don't give to get. Like
Mhm.
that's a bad mindset. I know in my book it'll say that because it catches like, hey, and I want to go through, but it's not giving to get. If I give 10, God will give me 20.
Mhm.
Doesn't it work like that? It's an ATM machine. Watch this. It doesn't work that way. Okay. That's bad theology. All right. So, but what we want to do is have that heart of giving because people know where it came from. That way, when you're in the community, people are going to talk. They're going to see. They're going to feel the spirit of that,
Right.
right? And they're going to do that business with you. When you're in more than the money, devote your time.
Right.
Time's way more valuable than any amount of money you can give them. You go give hours of your time,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that looks like in the community, helping the seniors, doing whatever that is. That stuff will pay you back in spades. It
That is
really will.
awesome.
And you're also leading your people. Your people see you do that. So that's great for loyalty, client retention or employee retention, things like that.
It builds definitely I think about relationships when you kind of talked about that and giving back in time versus even it's great to give money. I know that definitely we should, but it's usually a place where you're able to just kind of give and just not really be involved. But when you're involved or you have meeting someone or talking to someone or being around, it builds relationship and that's what it's all about. So, Richard, it has been fantastic. This has been so much we've been talking about. We're now getting to the end of our conversation. So, at this moment, I'm going to just ask you a question I always ask is that at this moment, what are you wanting to share with our audience, whether it's 2 or 3 specific tips that you have learned on this journey and that you share on how you should live life? Because it's more than business. But I know business is a portion of what you talk about, but man, what we talked about today, it's life and having life and having that freedom. And if your children and your spouse and those that are around you can begin to enjoy more of you, then I think it's just wonderful. So what are those 2 or 3 things that you would share to be able to pass along to our audience?
The first thing I always tell people, male, female, I don't care, do hard things. Make a point to do hard things. Something you don't want to do. I don't care if it's working out, learning how to work Excel spreadsheets. I don't care what it is, fixing an engine. Do something hard, okay? That to get out of your comfort zone and do something hard on a continual basis. Like do it, achieve it, great, move on. You don't have to master it, but do it. Go through, run that race, enter that competition, you know, do something difficult. I think that's one of my number one things that especially young men, I work a lot with young men. I'm in our men's ministry at church, and I tell them that all the time. Like, come, let's box. Let's get punched in the face. It's good for you, you know? So I know it sounds weird, but it is really good for you, you know? So my son's in the Marine Corps now, you know, he boxed, he did all the stuff, and now he's out, you know, being tested every day, and it's awesome. So that's one thing. Another thing was, again, to reemphasize on the exit strategy, incorporate your family in this. Whether if you just have a spouse, you have one kid, 10 kids, it doesn't matter. Like, understand that you have to share the journey you're on in business with your family. Don't think they don't care. They don't want to know. I thought that for a long time. And it's not that they want to be in your business. I'm not saying put them in your business. Let them be aware of what you're going through.
Yeah.
Make it a point. Like you need to release that. Share it with them because they're going to listen. Your kids are going to catch this and go, oh, and you can you're teaching. Even though you're going through the headaches or whatever, you also have good things and you're going to teach them. So don't be afraid to talk. I don't care if your kid's 8, talk business. You know, my kids know business.
Right.
They understand, they get it, you know, because they've been in it. We homeschool all our kids all the way through, right? So they got a lot of hands-on. They spent time at the gym, like me selling memberships. They learn how to do that, right? They've done all this stuff in the business. They've been with me. So that's a joy. If you can do that, that's awesome. I'd say a third thing, and this is, again, my personal thing, just strengthen your faith. You know, it's faith, family, finance, fitness, friendships. Faith is first for a reason. So we put the Lord first. That's where I'm at. That's above all things. Mm-hmm. Work, family, wife, husband. That people don't like to hear that, but God is first. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then my wife, then the kids, right? I have that order, and that's how it be. So I want to keep strong in my faith. That really gets me through the hard stuff. Yeah. Nothing can get me through that more than that. So for me, it's Jesus. Love it. Love him. And he's a huge part of my life. And that'd be my third thing I'd recommend.
Oh, Richard, thank you. Those are wonderful tips. I think we can really all take to heart and utilize and be able to implement on a daily basis. And so, Richard, how can all of my audience get in touch with you and also take a look at that great book that you authored as well?
sharpenthespiritcoaching.com. You go there, you go to Amazon, get Escape the Honor Prison if you want the hardcover book, or it's softcover. The book, the physical book, I guess is the term now. But let's do this, Randy, because this has been awesome. Yeah. Let's give your audience a gift. I'm going to give them a gift. All right. Go to sharpenthespiritcoaching.com, hit the contact page, send me a 1-sentence email, making it really easy. Say, Richard, heard you on Produce on Purpose. Love to get the free copy of your audiobook. All right. Boom, I'll send it to them. Oh, well, but one caveat, you got to listen to me read for like 2.5 hours. Okay, so I'm just saying, if this is bothering you, like you might not want to do that, but if it's okay, like I do it with emotion. It's a good book. It's a good read.
Well, awesome. Thank you for providing that gift. And Richard, it has been an awesome conversation. Thank you for sharing that great information with this world. I am now excited about exit strategies in all businesses, and also anyone that has heard this, please connect with Richard, connect with his coaching, programs and what he's doing, because it sounds like if you do that, you can get to that place where you are impacting, you get that freedom, and most of all, you get to produce on purpose. All right.